Welcome to Fort Worth Innovates, a show about innovation, research, entrepreneurship, and startups in Panther City. My name is Cameron Cushman, and I'm the host of this podcast that brings you the stories of the people that are putting our city on the map as a leader in innovation, with the help of the Fort Worth Tarrant County Innovation Partnership. My guest today is Raanan Horowitz, the former president and CEO of Elbit America, an aerospace and defense company with a significant presence in Fort Worth. 3 decades ago, he joined a small group of entrepreneurs to start the company. He took the reins as CEO in 2007 and retired in 2024 when annual revenues reached $1.6 billion. Elbit America is owned by Elbit Systems, a leading global defense technology company that delivers advanced solutions for a secure and safer world. The company employs over 20,000 people in dozens of countries across 5 continents. Since retirement from Elbit America, Raanan continues to be involved in aviation and national security and is also representing Fort Worth on the board of the DFW International Airport. Raanan, thanks so much for joining me today on Fort Worth Innovates.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, so first off, we just read this in your bio, but you had an illustrious career that had you retiring from Elbit America in 2024. Can you share a brief overview outside of what I just said in the introduction, in your own words, for our audience who may not know about the company?
Absolutely. I'm happy to do that. Elbit is a global aerospace and defense company, as we said, with more than 20,000 employees operating over 20 countries and providing mission critical solutions for a very, very diverse set of applications and needs. And just to give you some examples, unmanned aerial, ground, naval platforms, aircraft protection systems, electronic warfare, cybersecurity, high power lasers, command and control systems, electro-optics payloads, space-based sensors, precision missiles and rockets, long-range artillery, and a whole lot more. It really is a remarkably innovative company that is really solving some of the most challenging national security problems in the world with amazing technology and having a real impact. To tell you, it's backed by more than $500 million of R&D investments every year in new technology and innovation. Now, Elbit America, as you mentioned before, is a wholly owned subsidiary of Elbit, and is focused primarily on the U.S. market, on delivering, producing, designing, sustaining innovative solutions that protect and save lives. And our systems, just to give you some examples, we're the world leader in enhanced flight vision systems, which allows commercial aircrafts to take off and land in very heavy fog conditions. F-35 aircraft pilots use our helmet-mounted display systems as the primary flight instrument to be able to see through the skin of the aircraft. The Elbit America's mission processor is the heart of the Apache helicopter and a lot of other systems. A really remarkable company.
Well, it sure sounds like it, and it sounds like you know a lot about innovation. So obviously, I don't want you to divulge any trade secrets or give up anything around national security, but can you tell us how Elbit thought about innovation? How did it come up with new ideas? How did it test them, make sure that they would work as sort of initially designed, and then take them to market? What can you share with us about the innovation process at Elbit?
Be happy to do this. So, the one important thing is the Elbit innovation process always starts with the end user in mind. Many of the company's employees are also users of the products and the systems the company produces, either as veterans or reservists in the military. That means that they understand the exact operating environment of the customers and their indigenous environment, getting an intimate understanding of the problems they face and the challenges they face. So doing this on a consistent and regular basis enables a process where an engineer can start imagining and thinking about how both existing technology can be reused or reused in different applications, or new technologies can be used to solve different problems. I'll give you an example. One of the innovation Elbit has done is taking basically existing sensors on helicopters, combining them with advanced software algorithms and virtual reality displays to provide a solution that enables helicopters to land in what's called brownout conditions, basically zero visibility using those kind of sensors. The same system is used right now on with thousands of Marines and soldiers in the U.S. Army, U.S. Marine Corps as part of the enhanced night vision systems binocular system that also allows these kind of merging of capabilities between sensors, virtual reality, and algorithms. Um, One of the things that I'm very, very interested in is Elbit has really mastered what we call iterative development. And this is something that the current US Secretary of War is really pushing hard to allow quicker, accelerated fielding of capabilities to the warfighter. And what it means is fielding the equipment, then having a very, very rapid closed loop of feedback from the users, incorporating improvements, and then refielding the systems with additional capabilities. This actually cuts down the time to field warfighter capabilities by years compared to the traditional waterfall process. So those are some of the things that Elba uses to have very, very great success.
Yeah, I love that, and I love that idea of iterative process over like a waterfall. I think that makes a ton of sense because you don't always know what's going to work, and you're constantly learning. And the quicker you can return those loops and that learning, the faster the innovation is going to come, and hopefully the more successfully it's going to end up getting to customers on the market, whatever that may look like.
Absolutely. In the right environment with the right problem solving. Yep.
Absolutely. Okay, so we met through the Texas A&M Fort Worth and the Fort Worth Tarrant County Innovation Partnership. How did you become involved in the partnership?
So, at Elbit America, we always had an important, put in a lot of emphasis on collaborating with US government, research labs, with academia to make sure we stay at the forefront of emerging technologies and capability. I'll just give you an example. We leveraged our presence in the Northeast and built basically an innovation center in Cambridge, Massachusetts, that focused primarily on the biomedical ecosystem over there. So one of the challenges we had to do this in Fort Worth, honestly, was the lack of a tier one research university here. So when I heard about the opportunity for Texas A&M to come here, I got very, very excited. This was really an opportunity to be on the ground floor, to start from scratch and collaborate with other civic and business leaders, to include Congresswoman Kay Granger's, mayors Betsy Price and Matty Parker, John Goff, and many others, and to make this happen. One thing that is interesting that I don't think many people know is one of the first opportunities we had to really envision what this Fort Worth Innovation Hub could be was a visit we actually arranged and hosted John Goff and team in our Cambridge Innovation Center to demonstrate what we were accomplishing together with universities such as MIT and other local academia. So that was actually a good opportunity to demonstrate and envision what can be done with this innovation hub.
That's fascinating. And I love that you have wanted to try to replicate that here in Fort Worth. I mean, people have tried to replicate Cambridge or Silicon Valley or whatever that may look like. And it's really, really difficult. And it's even harder if you don't have that tier one research institution. And so kudos to you for jumping in and trying to help get this established because you're right. I think it's going to have a huge long run effect for Fort Worth in ways we don't even necessarily realize yet.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so Fort Worth has been known as a hub for innovation in aviation and aerospace.
Yeah.
And on the commercial side, of course, we have Southwest Airlines not too far away, American Airlines based in Fort Worth, and of course on the defense side, a lot of your collaborators and maybe even competitors, including Lockheed and Bell and others. But why do you think Fort Worth is such a hub for innovation in aviation and aerospace?
Well, you actually, first of all, look at the rich history that we have here with aviation and aerospace. I did some research a little bit, but Meacham Field was actually one of the earliest Texas aviation hub here. In World War II, tremendous amount of industrial boom, massive production of the B-24 Liberators. Thousands of bomber crews were trained in Carswell Air Force Base. So really what we have here is a fantastic integration of both military and industrial base together. And you combine it with a very highly engaged civic and business leadership. You combined it with an extremely patriotic population, the availability of capital for investment, and a very positive and accommodating business environment. And you can see why, as a result, we're the fighter jet capital of the world, the rotorcraft innovation hub of the US and hopefully the world overall. DFW International Airport being the second busiest airport in the US and the third busiest in the world. You just see what this region has been able to create. And it's just a combination of the people, the capital, the heritage, the history, and the willingness to dream and to do good things.
Yeah, it is a really robust and really long history that I think people who've been around Fort Worth know. But if you're new to town, you may not realize that all of those things that you just mentioned have been going on in Fort Worth for a long, long time. So my
Absolutely.
next question is going to be kind of a no brainer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Why do you think it makes sense for the Fort Worth Tarrant County Innovation Partnership to make aviation and aerospace one of their hubs on which they want to focus some of their research, development, and scientific efforts?
Well, I think it's obvious, as you said. Uh, you just look at the innovation that's taking place here on a regular basis. We are at the forefront of advances on everything from urban mobility with engagement, for example, from DFW Airport, the Alliance Airport, Meacham, and all that. The Bell MV-75 that we talked about, the FLRAA, the long-range assault aircraft, will modernize Army aviation with advanced long-range tilt-rotor capabilities. Across the nation, the region, basically, we are leveraging things in autonomy, in energy production, counter UAS, and more. So there is tremendous amount of innovation here. Um, and the other thing is, in addition to some of the large primes that you talked about, Lockheed Martin and Bell, there are companies like Elbit America that are part of very thriving local aviation and aerospace supply chain that are providing a very diverse set of capabilities, everything from advanced manufacturing to software intensive systems. This is the place to be. If you want to be an innovator in aviation and aerospace, Worth is the place to be.
Absolutely. Well, I completely agree with you. And obviously the A&M folks and the Fort Worth Tarrant County Innovation Partnership folks do as well. One of the things that they focus on is what they call workforce development, and it's actually one of the hubs that the partnership is working on. But I want to hear what workforce development means to you. Obviously, you had tens of thousands of people working at Elbit across the country and across the globe, many of them engineers, very skilled innovators, very technical people. But what does workforce development mean to you, and how do you differentiate that between education and A&M being an educational institution and workforce development?
You know, Workforce development to me is really identifying, training, developing um, talented people with the skills, the capabilities, and more importantly, the motivation. We at Elbit America, one of the things we always considered is we attracted people that wanted to make a difference. We attracted people that wanted to align with our mission of innovative solutions that protect and save lives. So the training is important. The engineering skills and being at the forefront of technology is important, but even more important is the alignment and understanding between workforce, the end users and the customers. And I like to call the customer is the hero, and the engineer and the developer is the person, and the producer are the people that their job is to make the hero succeed and support the hero in what they need to do. So, we always attracted people that want to feel they're making a real difference in for our country and for our nation. These days, I think there's great opportunity. I'm sure you've watched, just like me, the images from Artemis 2, and it's just capturing people's imagination with space being the next frontier and the next opportunity. You look at advancements in autonomy in both ground and air urban mobility; those are accelerating. They're going to be there. All this means that the timing is right. The timing is right, and it's a golden opportunity for the city and Texas A&M to leverage this innovation partnership and attract and train a new generation that is not only good in engineering, but also focused and excited about the future of aviation, aerospace, and space. I just think it's the right time, and that's why I am excited about this.
Yeah, I love that. And yes, we are all watching all of what's going on with Artemis and sort of a renewed space program. It's been fun to watch SpaceX and Blue Origin, of course, but to see NASA doing this, I think it does elicit definitely some pride in all of us that we are able to do such incredible things. My dream when I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut, like every other 10-year-old boy in the world. And I still just love that we are here witnessing that and kind of that return to space that is just so palpable when you actually see it happening. And it's great to see this in Fort Worth. That so much of this cool stuff is happening here that most of us will never realize is even going into things like Artemis or all the other things that you just mentioned. It is really cool.
And one of the things maybe I should mention also, we're part of a greater ecosystem of Texas. And I think what Governor Abbott has done in the state overall with really promoting space-based technologies capability with SpaceX being here, Rocket Labs, and many others, I think it's Firefly, a lot of excitement around it, which I think is actually we're going to see more young people interested in exploring this and doing this. So the timing is really absolutely right for this innovation partnership with Texas A&M.
Perfect. So I want to go back to workforce development. What role did workforce development play in your role as Elbit at Elbit? And what do you think is needed to produce the next generation of innovators and workers for high tech, high innovation jobs that are really pushing the envelope when it comes to the future of aviation and aerospace?
I really think that the key point here is the word partnership. Because again, as we mentioned, it's one thing is to have people go through engineering courses and studies and get the right skills and capabilities. But the other side is really to connect them to the actual solutions, the actual customers. So things like partnership with putting people in internships, apprenticeships, but connecting together. So my excitement is that by linking or creating an innovation hub adjacent to providing the requisite courses and the studies, I think we can get people a much better understanding of how they can apply those skills to these exciting real life challenges and issues and make a difference. So that's always what we've done at Elbit America. That's what I do everywhere I am to really make sure that there's a strong connection between workforce, young, emergent people, talented people, and the end users, the people that are using the equipment and have the challenges that these systems need to solve.
Yeah, I love that, and we want people in Fort Worth to grow up thinking, "I can go work on projects like that. I can be an engineer. I can be a software person that's going to design software for fighter jets or rotorcraft or whatever that looks like." We want to be able to inspire that and to have an educational institution that we can point to that will be growing in that area, I think is extremely important to just get more people into that world and thinking that, I can do that too. I can contribute in that way. And I am
Absolutely.
excited to see how this develops with companies like Elbit America as A&M continues to build out its capabilities here in Fort Worth. Okay, so we love to look into the future on this show. Can you look into the future, Raanan, grab your crystal ball, and tell us about a few things that you see on the horizon for aviation and aerospace? And, dream big. Like it could be on the commercial side, could be on the defense side. What do you see in the future for this industry?
Maybe I'll start by telling you there's a couple things we're already working actually with the team at A&M on leveraging some of those technologies. So one of the things that is really taking hold across the industry is the use of digital twins. And that's where you create a digital model, you use advancements in computers and algorithms to be able to actually very accurately simulate a system and actually check and test how it operates in a simulated operating environment. So we're working that, and that has the potential to substantially reduce the time it takes to validate and test systems and field them for both commercial and the military applications. So that's an example of where I see the future is very, very significantly changing the way people will develop and test systems. I'll give you another area. We're looking at how do we leverage advancements in sensors and understanding of human biology to improve the performance and the readiness of pilots to fly aircraft. We all know that one of the key points on aviation safety is human errors or human readiness. So how do you really leverage advancements in biology and sensors to be able to do that? So those are the two examples we're already working with A&M. I will tell you at the DFW International Airport, there's a whole host of innovations that are going to come to light very, very, very soon. For example, we're building a whole new terminal, Terminal F, in collaboration with American Airlines, and it is using very advanced modular construction technologies that are allowing us to reduce the time, reduce the cost, and to improve the utility and efficiency of that terminal. So that's another area. I can tell you, looking ahead, I mentioned autonomy and urban mobility. I think given the size of the region here, the distances, and the advancement of those capabilities, I can see a day where we're going to have urban mobility solutions flying from Fort Worth to DFW, not having to go to the tollway or to the condensed arteries of the highways over there. I can see us being a leader in adopting these kind of capabilities, and I think just the sky's the limit here.
Well, sign me up for a sky taxi or whatever they're called.
That's
I would
right.
love to get off the roads a little bit and travel in a new way. The flying
Absolutely.
cars, yeah, flying cars have been promised to us for a long time, and maybe we're close. It's coming. That's what everybody keeps saying. And I think again, I think you may have already kind of answered this, but what do you see? Do you see anything that's specific to Fort Worth that Fort Worth can be really good at when it comes to innovation in aerospace and engineering? I mean, you just mentioned DFW Airport. Obviously, that's a hub for innovation, Elbit, but is there anything that Fort Worth is very specifically going to be known for moving forward?
I would just say, I was thinking about innovation in Fort Worth, and interestingly enough, the thing that came to mind when I thought about that is actually our Dickies Arena. And it'll be interesting to think about the arena as a kind of an innovation landmark. But really, when you look at that arena that was designed to rapidly convert from different events, all the way from rodeo to monster trucks to Lady Gaga to sporting events and stuff. It's really an amazing, innovative design. If you look at the outside of the arena, it represents the traditional Fort Worth. When you look inside, it's highly advanced. It's digital. It's equipped to do a lot of different things in infrastructure. The way we funded it with the private-public partnership uh, is another innovation model. So overall, it's a fantastic addition to the city. And I think it's a good example of what Fort Worth can be to actually combine our tradition and history with advanced technology and innovation. And I look forward to see a whole lot more of that as well. This is happening at the DFW International Airport. This is happening in Alliance with Hillwood and the parole team over there. It's happening all across the city, and I look forward to celebrate a lot of it in the future.
That's wonderful. Yeah, and I think there is so much innovation around here. If you just know where to look and sort of take a step back, I think Dickies Arena is one of those that you're right. It just looks like an arena. It just looks like a place where you have basketball games and concerts and rodeos. And when you get into the nuts and bolts of it, there is really a lot of innovation baked into that place that I just don't think most people realize. But Raanan, I want to know, what is your favorite innovation in Fort Worth?
Well, actually, it's a Dickies Arena. I think that's
Okay, there
actually.
you go.
I actually think this is my most favorite innovation. I mean, I live not far from it. I enjoy going there. I enjoy the versatility. I love the fact that it's been put in there. It's effective. It's used for a lot of different things, and I look forward to see more of this. I would also say again, I'm biased being on the board of the DFW International Airport. So, and people need to remember half of it is in Fort Worth. And as I mentioned, a lot of innovation happening there. I'll give you one example. We're looking right now. We're looking at potentially implementing technology where you can do remote control of jet bridges to aircraft. So you don't no longer have to have somebody on the jet bridge try to maneuver it and knock on the doors and stuff. There is technology these days that you can apply those kind of capabilities on the simplest of problems. So I really think there is tremendous amount of potential here and innovation, um, both in the city and in the region overall. I'm excited. I'm very excited about the future here.
Self-driving jet bridges. You've heard it all, ladies and gentlemen. That is a fascinating concept, and it makes sense. Why not try to automate something like that? And it'll make everybody more efficient. And people get stuck or something happens and they can't make it, and then the plane's sitting there waiting to be unloaded, or vice versa. So
Oh, that's
I love
one of
that.
the most frustrating things I'm sure ever
Yes,
for anybody, just waiting for that gate agent to show up and move the jet bridge. So if we can solve that, there's nothing else we can't solve.
that's right. Everybody wins. Well, Renan, thank you so much for joining me today on Fort Worth Innovates. If you like hearing stories like this about innovation, research, entrepreneurship, and startups in our city, please subscribe, share, and be sure to tell a friend. The more you engage, the more episodes just like this we can release. Mark your calendars and sign up for the AI for Executives workshop, hosted by the Fort Worth Tarrant County Innovation Partnership and General Genomics on May 29th. You can learn more and register in the show notes. You can also find out more about this event and about our previous podcasts on our social media channels at Fort Worth Innovates. You can find us on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Fort Worth Innovates is produced by Kendall Rogers. We'd like to thank our sponsor for this podcast, the Fort Worth Tarrant County Innovation Partnership, who are building an innovation district where technology and research combine to build the future right here, right now.